Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody. Today is March 4th, 2025 of the Hayward City Council meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I'd like to call upon Councilmember Dan Goldstein for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please stand if you are able.
Thank you. And then, Madam City Clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Bonilla Jr.
Present.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Present.
Councilmember Roach.
Present.
Councilmember Syrup.
Present.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Presente.
Mayor Salinas.
Present. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, if you can please give us a closed session announcement.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, the council convened at 5:30 with all members present. There was one item under the topic of anticipated litigation the council discussed, gave direction to staff, but otherwise took no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, this evening, we start off with a proclamation for the American Red Cross Month. And I do have a proclamation. We have two representatives from the American Red Cross. Of course, we have my good friend and of course former council member in the city of San Leandro, our neighbor up north, is Council Member Gregory. I know you're not on the council, but Council Member Gregory, and of course his colleague Anton Ghosh, who is also from the American Red Cross. And there are many different branches of the Red Cross. Mr. Gregory, of course, is on the blood side of the Red Cross, and Mr. Ghosh is on the disaster side of the Red Cross. So anytime there is a disaster, him and his team kick in and respond to those events. So welcome. We're gonna read the proclamation, and then we'll come to the front, take pictures, and then you'll have a moment to deliver some public comments. So thank you, and thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I know for as long as I've been up here, I know you've always been here, except in the proclamation, so welcome back. Proclamation presented to the American Red Cross of Northern California Coastal Region, Alameda County Leadership Council, March 4th, 2025. Whereas the American Red Cross was founded in May 1881 by Clara Barton, and this year marks their 144th anniversary. And whereas the Red Cross has touched many lives in the city of Hayward, as well as across the country and around the world, and whereas this work to uplift our community is made possible by those who selfishly answer the call for help whenever and wherever it is needed. Therefore, we thank those who contribute to the mission of the Red Cross, whether through time, money, or blood, and we invite others to support the Red Cross in helping people in need down the street, across the country, and around the world. And whereas the American Red Cross is synonymous with helping people and has been for more than 140 years, throughout the past year, the American Red Cross launched hundreds of disaster relief operations in the United States to help people affected by fires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, and more. And whereas the American Red Cross Northern California Coastal Region works tirelessly to provide support when disaster strikes, with over 1,630 volunteers in Alameda County, the American Red Cross Bay Area chapter assisted or responded to 163 disasters, assisted 305 families, provided 455 case services to military members and their families, received 30,572 units of blood donations and 1,154 blood drives from donors throughout Alameda County and also provided humanitarian and aid internationally. And whereas in the past year, the American Red Cross trained 13,893 residents in life-saving first aid, CPR, AED, aquatics and water safety, trained 2,544 youth and adults through Pedro and preparedness programs, installed 988 smoke alarms and 291 homes. Installed 988 smoke alarms and made 291 homes safer through the sound alarm program. And whereas for nearly 100 years, United States presidents have called upon the American people to support the Red Cross and its humanitarian mission. Our community depends on the Red Cross, and because it is not a government agency, the Red Cross depends on support from the public to continue its humanitarian work. This is especially important in these challenging economic times, which impact the Red Cross as well as many people in our community and across the nation. Now, therefore, I, Mark Salinas, Mayor of the City of Hayward, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as American Red Cross Month. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a big round of applause. Stand in the middle, and then we'll slide over here. And then this is the marker right there, and then we'll. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Mike's yours.
Thanks for the kind words. Welcome, everybody. Couple updates here. San Leandro, we moved our operations on Claremont in Oakland, that was there forever, over to 1001 Davis Street. It was the former Boy Scouts building, and that's where we now house our humanitarian training. We don't collect blood on site there, but we do distribute the blood to all of our hospitals from that site. So if you ever want a tour of how things work, contact me. It's my favorite things to take people through how this all works. You mentioned it already, we're dependent on volunteers to donate and also to help us out with running the organization. I'll handle blood right quick here. We do have some numbers for the city of Hayward. In 2024, you did a whopping 247 donations. You can do more. So on that, very briefly, what we need help with is younger, diverse donors. Bad math going on in the blood world right now. The average donor in the Bay Area and in the country are aging Caucasians. We are timing out, we're turning out, we're aging out. So we're becoming recipients now so we're not contributing like we used to. We need to be replaced, particularly by younger people and people of color. Look at our hospitals. Our average patients are not aging Caucasians in the Bay Area, so their blood needs have to be matched, and that's another conversation. But if you want to hear more in depth, let me know. We also brought our warehouse from Alameda also to San Leandro, so we're closer to Hayward now with a lot of blood and a lot of supplies when that Hayward fault goes. Anton, what happened in disasters?
Thank you. I'm Anton Ghosh. I'm actually the Hayward liaison. Met with the emergency manager this afternoon just to discuss emergency management, but it's a privilege to be here. Some of the numbers to share. In 2024, the American Red Cross responded to 12 home fires across Hayward, and we helped over 23 residents to be put up in shelters and to feed themselves after those fires. In terms of sound alarm and smoke detectors, the American Red Cross helped install 28 smoke alarms in 8 homes in 2024. And we also worked with the Hayward Area Parks and Recreation District to conduct shelter training across the region. We work with them closely to identify shelters in Hayward in case there's a mass casualty event and Hayward residents need sheltering. And he went over the blood drives also. These are just a few examples of the activities we've engaged in during the last year in the city. We look forward to partnering with the city over the coming years. I plan to meet with the emergency manager and other Hayward representatives. So I look forward to getting to know everyone in the city over the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give him another big round of applause. And I don't know if you knew this, but this afternoon in front of City Hall was a American Red Cross van, and there were some people donating blood, I believe. So thank you very much for that. I don't know how much blood you got from us, but we were out there. Okay. I'd like to next move on to public comments, and I do have 3 cards. I first would like to call upon, is it Jose Riquelme? And if you hit the button on the bottom of the box, right there, there you go. You're on.
Hello?
Yep.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Jose Riquelme. I was a postal employee for 37 years. I retired 2 years ago. I live in Hayward for over 30 years. During this time, I see, a lot of improvement in this city. A lot of improvement. It's because maybe this administration, but for sure the previous administration too. And I was very happy because I live in this country, and this town. The thing that it was calling my attention is the street food vendors. That I see it at the beginning was, in different places, maybe 1, 2. But lately, I was wondering how come the city is approving this kind of permit if they have the permits. When I see Tennyson in one block, I saw 4 vendors. In Mission Boulevard, that is a place that they don't have parking spaces. They have 1 vendor. And I was wondering how come, the city allowed this vendor have permit or they don't. I'm not against them, but I would like to see, in a moderate way, in a places that they can be safe, but not only for them, but also for the people that stop to buy the food. But the thing that it concerned me, it was about a week ago, I see a food vendor, in the same gas station in Tennyson and Pompano Street. So I said, how can, the city allow this? So I would like to do these questions. Who is the person to approve these permits? What is the criteria to do it? And there is a way that the city is controlling them? Or there is any safety issue? Because Hayward improved a lot. So everything that we approve, it gotta be controlled too. We need control, because sometimes when we don't have control, the vendors appear here and then there is they make it's not a good looking for the city. So that was my concern.
Thank you. We cannot respond to you right now, but we do have your card, and we will certainly respond to you sometime after tomorrow. But thank you for your public comment, and I'm going to move on to the next public commenter. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Our next speaker is Elizabeth Barrera.
Mayor, my apologies, Mayor Salinas. I believe that's for item number 4.
I do see, TJ from Hayward Concerned Citizens. Go right ahead.
Good evening, Council. I'm TJ with Hayward Concerned Citizens, and I just wanted to touch on a couple of brief things on my mind this evening. First, I wanted to appreciate how the Council Infrastructure and Airport Committee conducted last week's discussions on the Santa Clara Street and Hayward Boulevard traffic calming projects. I felt the committee was attentive to all the feedback received and raised some good questions while acknowledging the voiced and valid concerns our residents had moving forward. Having heard the number of civil engineers who called in regarding the lane narrowing on Hayward Boulevard, I would most certainly emphasize that the needs of the thousands who require appropriate evacuation access and smooth routes to the schools up the hill be prioritized over the smaller group of bike enthusiasts. Second, my thoughts go out to our entire HUSD community this evening as they grapple with the fallout of significant budget cuts our board trustees had to decide on, and now the resignation of HUSD superintendent. I know what is happening with the schools is not necessarily city council's purview, but as a body that just had its own discussion on budget deficits, and knowing that our mayor has proclaimed this an education city, I hope there's some way you can lend even a little emotional support to our HUSD staff, parents, and students for the educators, the one-to-one aides, the programs that have been impacted that have enriched our students' education experience. I hope HUSD will find some healing soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next caller is Carl G.
Hi there. Apologies, my last name is Gorange. My name is hi, Hayward City Council, Mayor, staff, and community. My name is Carl Gorange, and I live here in Hayward. And I also currently serve as the treasurer and board member of our local Sun Gallery. The Sun Gallery is celebrating our 50th year as a gallery and a 60th year as an organization this year, one of only 2 art gallery organizations in Hayward. We will be showcasing pieces and representing some of Hayward's finest artists, including our very own Andrew Kong Knight, with an upcoming reception on Saturday, March 15th from 2 to 8 p.m. You may have seen some of his murals along the B Street Movie Theater. We'll also be hosting our member show on Saturday, March 29th at 1 p.m. Now I'm here to bring to your attention that we are currently dealing with a financial shortfall. Our previously awarded city grant has been cut in half. Also, the Community Services Commission is currently taking public comment for their recommended list of agencies to be funded. We applied, but we are not on that list because our application for funding was not forwarded to the commission. Our landlord Hard has stepped up to help us with some rent relief, but we are still very short. So I would like to speak with you individually sometime, perhaps, to see what we can do about this so we can continue to support the arts in our community. So also, since I have another minute, my second topic to bring up, since we're just a drop in the bucket compared to what's looming ahead of us. Unfortunately, I'm a bit concerned about what's going on at our federal level, as I'm sure you all are, with cutting government staff. And so I'm really concerned also about what may affect us in the future. We may be in the calm before the storm of an emergency soon. And so I hope you're thinking, I'm sure you are, thinking about what's going to come up. I just read an article in the news earlier today about 7,000 workers being cut from Social Security Administration. And, there was a commissioner who said the benefit payments might be at risk in the next 30 to 90 days, which will be a crazy emergency for us if people suddenly didn't get their Social Security checks. It will affect our seniors and disabled. So that's just one example, but that's another concern. So thank you.
Thank you. There are no public comments, no more public comments, so I will close public comments. I'll move on to the city manager's comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I would like to start by sharing with you and introducing you to our new Finance Director on a limited term, Sharif Edmond, who's here with us tonight. Sharif comes to us with about 20 years of public sector finance experience, including most recently as the Senior Finance Advisor at the Regional Government Services, RGS. Sharif previously served as the Town Manager, Finance Director for the town of Portola Valley and as the Interim Administrative Services Director for Redwood City. He holds a master's degree and bachelor's degree from St. Mary's College and California State University, Dominguez Hills, and respectively, and he speaks 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Arabic. We're very excited to have him to come and join us as we continue to embark in this journey. And so, Sharif, welcome to the city of Hayward. If he can make some comments, that would be great.
Absolutely. I heard that you were going to give a 30-minute lecture on budget and finance.
That's right. Good evening, Mayor Salinas, esteemed council, executive team members, and City Manager Alvarez. I'm honored to be here today. I'm honored to be part of the team. I'm looking forward to working with all of you moving forward. My number one goal is to continue the excellence in finance that we have and enhance the integrity and really just maintain the integrity that we've had for so many years. This is a big city, and we have a lot of challenges, but at the same time, we're in good shape. I've worked in many cities and many municipalities, and we are in good shape. We can make these changes. We have some big decisions to make as a group, but I'm very confident that we can do that. And my number one goal is to serve the community. We're all here to serve the community and to serve the community through our finances and through a balanced budget moving forward. And so I know that you've already started your discussions. I'm getting up to speed very quickly on those discussions, and I'll be joining you and looking forward to working with all of you and Dr. Alvarez and the community to get us moving forward, especially into next year. So, thank you.
Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you.
Let's give him a big round of applause. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I just felt a big calm upon me.
Yes. No,
thank you.
And then I also wanted to share that on February the 27th, the city of Hayward celebrated the opening of Home Goods. And this opening is an important milestone as it completes the transformation of the old Kmart site into the vibrant new Hayward Retail Center on Mission Boulevard and West Hardin Road. I was there on Friday night, and the place was really hopping. Home Goods and other stores and restaurants that have opened up at the center include the Sprouts Farmers Market and the In-N-Out Burger, which are creating jobs, generating revenue to support the city services, and offering popular shopping and dining options for the residents, so we're very excited. I also would like to make the announcement that from March the 3rd all the way to May the 30th, our Hayward Youth Commission recruitment is now open. So we're encouraging all of our residents, students between the ages of 13 to 20 years old to apply for an appointment to serve on the city's Hayward Youth Commission. Some of our council members are alumni, and that was a pathway to government and governance. The commission meets here in City Council chambers the second Monday of each month from September to June, except for the holidays. And the role of the commissioners is very important, as you know, thanks to the charter that was given by the City Council, in that they're here to provide advisory feedback to elected officials of the City of Hayward and the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District, as well as the Hayward Unified School District, on issues of concerns to young people. So the deadline is this Friday. I encourage all of the young adults to please join us. It's Friday, May the 30th. Anyone interested in more information, please apply with the City of Hayward and reach out to our city clerk, Miriam Lenz, who will be more than happy to explain to you what a beautiful journey this can be. Additionally, I'd like to make an announcement pertaining to the upcoming strategic planning workshop that's taking place this Saturday, March the 8th. I would like to advise the Hayward community members that your city council and city executive leadership will be hosting this meeting this Saturday to participate in a strategic planning work session, which is depicted here on this slide, which include the priorities for this fiscal year that guides policy making, budget, and service delivery at the City of Hayward. The work session, which is scheduled to run from 9 to 2 p.m. in the City Hall Conference Room 2A, will be an opportunity to discuss and refine implementation on these priorities. The meeting is open to the public and will be shown live on Zoom and over the city's YouTube channel. It will be a great conversation to be had, and we welcome everyone to join us. And certainly, I would like to make an announcement pertaining to the State of the City address for this year. This is taking place on March the 11th. I want to advise the community that our mayor, Mayor Salinas, will deliver the annual Hayward State of the City address next Tuesday evening. The State of the City address is an opportunity each year for Hayward's mayor to provide an update on city government and provide an outlook for the year ahead. Again, this is a public event which will take place starting at 6 p.m. Tuesday, March the 11th, at a beautiful new location, the new Hayward Unified School District Performing Arts Center. Please join us. The address is 2390 Panama Street. And lastly, and certainly not least, it gives me great pleasure to announce to the community and to the City Council to join us in celebrating the opening of Phase 1 of the Stack Youth and Family Center with a ribbon-cutting ceremony at 4 p.m. at the corner of Russ Road and Panjun Street. Phase 1 of the Stack Center includes an affordable childcare center run by Kidango and a refinished Matt Jimenez Gymnasium and a new community events plaza. During the ceremony, the events plaza will be activated with food trucks, family activities, and our mobile library, Kirby. Please come and celebrate with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Excuse me? What date? This will take place on the 14th, March the 14th at 4 p.m. And that concludes my comments for today.
Thank you. Before I move on, I was going to ask Councilmember Bonilla if he had a reflection or two on his time on the Youth Commission.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. And I see we have two of our youth commissioners with us this evening. The Youth Commission, I think, is a very unique opportunity to get firsthand insights into how not only the city is ran, but our Park and Recreation District and our school district. Also importantly is advising these three agencies on issues that impact youth under the age of 25 in our city, which is oftentimes insights that we need as we craft programs, as we create policies, and as we really make sure that we're building a city that is youth-friendly and that builds pathways, not only, as the mayor says, to an education city, but also to kind of get to know the inside of City Hall, to get to understand city government and governance, and also to have your voice heard. It's the youth that are the future of the city, and we're all here working to make sure that we have a city that's able to continue to serve not only this generation, but future generations to come. And the best way of ensuring that we're able to do that is by hearing directly from our youth. So I encourage you guys not to be discouraged by the application process. Feel free to reach out to me or the city clerk as you're going through the process. It's a fun process. You're going to learn a lot, but most importantly, you're going to be able to give back and really make a difference by having your voice heard. So please do apply. It's a great opportunity. I was on it myself, and it gave me a lot of confidence, not only to be able to understand the issues, but to also bring a voice to communities that oftentimes don't have a voice in City Hall. So please do come forward and apply, and I look forward to hopefully interviewing you as part of the process if the mayor selects me to be a part of the panel again. With that, thank you so much, and please do apply.
In fact, I think you are, and you were supposed to get the email. So you and Councilmember Syrup, I spoke to you, but I may not have spoken to you. So, Madam City Clerk, I have the 2 council members now. Councilmember Zermeño.
Thank you, Mayor. One point about the youth commission is that it can be a powerful voice. One of the reasons that we have a bowling alley in Southland is because they invited the then general manager of Southland to one of their meetings, and they gave him a list of wants and needs for the youth. And one of them was the bowling alley, and now we have a bowling alley. So it's good to flex your muscles and take ownership of our city. So thank you.
Madam City Manager, you had a comment?
Yes, and just one small correction. I misspoke. The deadline for the Youth Commission application is May the 9th. So May the 9th is the deadline.
Not this Friday. No, okay. May 9th. May 9th. Someone else? Councilmember Andrews.
The mayor failed to mention that I was also on my city's youth commission as well, and I'll just ditto Councilmember Bonilla's comments. But thank you for your service, and look forward to seeing the applicants come through to serve their community. Thanks.
My apologies. Okay, well, thank you. And yes, the Josue Barrera and Elizabeth Barrera have been are on the Youth Commission, and they have been outstanding commissioners. So apply. May 9th is the deadline, right? May 9th. Okay. I'd like to now move on to our consent item, and I have not received anything to get pulled, so I will entertain a motion. Moved by Councilmember Goldstein.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Roach. But before I do that, I'd like to first open up to public comment, see if there's any public comment. There's no public comment. Come back to the council. Moved by Councilmember Goldstein, seconded by Councilmember Roach. And if there are no objections, it will unanimous, or actually, oh, here he is. And if there are no objections, it will unanimously pass. Councilmember Andrews,
I just wanted to say thank you for appointing me back onto the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency. So thank you.
There's no one better. Yeah, I think last week I called it something else, but great. Mr. Ameri, did you hear that? Perfect. Okay, so I'd like to move on to item number 4, which is our legislative business, LB 25-006, City Commissions, Council Ad Hoc Committee recommendations on the structure, roles, and uniform organization operations of city commissions, and introduction of ordinance amending the Hayward Municipal Code relating to the Community Services Commission and finding that the action is exempt from CEQA review. And I believe this report will be delivered by Assistant City Manager Youngblood and City Attorney Lawson, and of course our City Clerk, Ms. Lenz. And Ms. Youngblood, correct?
Thank you.
Oh, perfect.
Correct. Tonight we're presenting the recommendation for the City Council Ad Hoc Committee on Commissions. The committee was formed after an April 2024 work session to assess and improve the effectiveness of city commissions. This presentation will summarize the key recommendations. The City Council Ad Hoc Committee was tasked with reviewing the structure and the operations of commissions to, in particular, ensure operational efficiency, align the commissions with the City Council's priorities, and to clarify, roles and responsibilities. The Ad Hoc Committee's recommendations focus on 4 major changes: the uniform administration of commissions, having all commissions follow the same meeting protocols and agenda setting process, and eliminating separate bylaws. updates to the appointed officials handbook. Changes clarify attendance policies, leadership roles, and professional conduct and expectations. The creation of the Clean and Green Commission. The Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force will be transitioned to a formal commission with structured policies. And changes to the Community Services Commission, most notably reducing the members from 17 to 11 and focusing its role on the resource allocation for community services. This slide gives some specifics about the recommended changes for this Community Services Commission. The ad hoc committee recommended the membership be reduced from 17 to 11, again, to improve efficiency and focus the discussions on funding recommendations. The commission's advisory role is being clarified to ensure alignment with the Community Development Block Grant process and other funding allocations. Meeting frequency will be adjusted for this commission to better align with funding cycles, ensuring that the commissioner's time is used effectively and discussions remain focused on funding decisions. As it pertains to the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force, the ad hoc recommends transitioning the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force to a full-on commission. It has been a long-standing advisory body focused on community beautification, but it currently lacks formal commission structure. The ad hoc committee recommends transitioning to the Clean and Green Commission, which will have 18 members and 2 alternates, and they would follow official commission rules as outlined in the appointed officials handbook. Term limits will apply prospectively to current members, ensuring consistency with other commissions, and the meeting frequency will align with scheduled community cleanup events. So our recommendation in the staff report is that the council adopts a resolution accepting the report and recommendations of the city's council's ad hoc committee, which includes the uniform administration of city commissions, updates to the appointed officials handbook, and the creation of the Clean and Green Commission. And we recommend that you introduce an ordinance changing the structure, roles, and operations of the Community Services Commission. If this recommendation is approved, an ordinance, if it is introduced and recommended, it would be scheduled for adoption on March the 18th. And so this concludes the presentation. As this is a legislative business item, council questions, public comment, and then council discussion will ensue.
Thank you very much. I'll first start with council questions. Council member and ad hoc committee chair, Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. That's right. I forgot. So we're doing, because we are making an actual vote tonight, then I'll keep my comments for the second period. But the one question I wanted to ask Assistant City Manager Youngblood is, if you could also review for us what the process was to get here, like the comment, the public input that we got on this, the commissioner inputs and all that.
Absolutely. So the ad hoc commission met approximately 6 or 7 times between June and February, and in November, on November the 13th, 2024, held a public meeting with all of the commissioners invited to participate in that discussion. Some participated in person, some participated virtually, and the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force, as it has been known, put together input collectively that they sent to the ad hoc commission. So all of that information was considered in drafting the final recommendations.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, and I'll say my comments afterwards.
Thank you. Councilmember Syrup.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. I was curious about the rationale for the 2.5 term limit. Why the half? I don't know if staff or the folks in the committee want to answer that.
I would defer to the city attorney.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Syrup, Mayor and Council. The charter establishes a 2-term successive limit on commissioners. It is possible for a commissioner to be appointed by council mid-term, And so what the council has adopted is a rule that says that a commissioner who is appointed midterm will be entitled to essentially serve 2 years plus 8 years, total of 10 in succession. So that fix addresses a midterm appointment, that is a commissioner who is appointed to fill the unexpired term as long as the unexpired term is no more than 2 years, 2 calendar years.
Thank you for that clarification. So just as a hypothetical, so I understand correctly, let's say we fill a vacancy that has 3 years remaining, then another full term for 4 years. That means if they're reappointed a second time after, or maybe their third time rather, they would only get to serve 3 out of 4 years of that last term. Is that correct?
No, I think as I understand the hypothetical, that commissioner would be able to serve 7 years. 3 years would be the unexpired term plus the 4 years of a full term. But an additional 4 years would be 11 years, and that would violate the intent of the policy.
Thank you. That was what I was looking for clarification on. So what it sounds like is if that additional term, we're going to take them over that 10-year limit, they would be ineligible for appointment. Is that what I'm hearing? Or could they still serve 3 years and drop out during that last year?
As I understand the hypothetical, the commissioner has served 3 years of that unexpired term plus 4 years of a full appointment. And then the question is, could that commissioner then be appointed to another full term?
Correct.
No.
Could they serve out a portion of it, I guess, is the follow-up?
No.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And just the last question here would be, we put the Community Services Commission and the soon-to-be Clean and Green Commission on pause recruitment-wise. Will that be restarting in this recruitment cycle pending these changes?
I think the idea is to make sure that through attrition, the Community Services Commission reduces its number to 11. I would defer to the city clerk right now, given the latest resignations, to let us know how many commissioners we currently have.
Yes, thank you for that question. On the Community Services Commission, we currently have 14 members.
And so they're remaining through attrition. So as folks leave, we will cap out at 11. And for the Clean and Green, it sounds like we're doing something similar by reduction as well. Okay, great.
Correct.
So we're only recruiting if there's vacancies, but otherwise we're set. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see, or Councilmember Zermenio, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the report. My question, why Clean and Green Commission from 20 to 18? Why not 20 to 11 like the Community Services Commission?
We were taking feedback from the Clean and Green Task Force, and I think Councilmember Andrews may have something to add.
So we actually feel like this commission is very labor intensive, and we also recognize that they actually meet the most in addition to the cleanups. So it does require more hands on deck for our events as well as meetings, and they also do a lot of outreach. So it's really good to have a bigger number for the commission versus the other task forces and commissions.
Would that mean that the meetings could possibly run longer if they have to follow all the particular rules of the commission?
No, we have a very efficient meetings ran by our chair.
All right.
And sometimes our vice chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the one question I had, Councilmember Syrup, go ahead.
Thank you. Just on the note, sorry to interrupt, Mayor. Thank you. What's the rationale behind 18 versus 17? I understand it's very labor intensive, but just ensuring there's no split votes. I guess I'm curious about the even versus odd number.
So we normally had 30, so it wasn't really anything that we felt that we didn't really feel that we had that issue where we have a lot of contentious items that come up. It's very rare. Sometimes if they want to, if there is a policy change, they might want to look at that. But most of the time, we don't have those kinds of votes that come to our group.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, my apologies. But I'd like to address the question about the recruitment for the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force. We are in receipt of a resignation letter, which will bring the membership to 15. So that means that we will have to recruit. Thank you.
Thank you. The one question I had is, as I was reading the staff report and looking at the related materials, I have talked about this in the past, and I have asked for some consideration around this. But Mr. City Attorney, are there elements in here that talk about commissioner conduct and behavior?
Mayor and Council, yes. Let me find the language on decorum. That's attachment 4, page 13. I'll find that language.
Okay. What I will do is let me go to public comment. I do have 3 public comment cards in front of me. I don't know if there is. Let me see. So let me go to first commenter is Josue Barrera. Commissioner Barrera. Go ahead, hit the bottom. Hit the button. Yep.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, council members. I would like to say that the item is pretty good, but I believe that there could be some work to it. And out of my experience in the commission and what we have done, I have a few suggestions that I believe we could work on. So currently right now we're working in the commission on an event that will take place in Kennedy Park in about 2 months, where we're planning to have a youth event where we're gonna plan to invite the youth of the city and meanwhile inform them of certain topics of issue that we decided for this year. So in this case, it would be mental health and the safety in our schools. But I believe that we could have the ability to reach a wider audience. So this is where my idea of collaboration with neighboring city commissions, and we could sort of combine our budgets and make a greater event where we could attract an wider audience, but still have an attractive event that will gather the local youths in our city. The second suggestion I would like to make is regarding the topics of interest in our commissions. So for example, at the beginning of this year, we had a retreat and we discussed the topics of focus regarding our youth community this year, which were mental health and the safety in our schools. But I believe that it's a little bit restrictive into the commission's points of views, and it's not really focusing on the people's points of views. So what I was thinking is that we could have a panel at the beginning of each year, open for a certain amount of hours, where we could have the board of the commission, let people from the city come and take public comments about what are some topics of focus that we could focus on for that year. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent recommendations. Our next speaker is Elizabeth Barrera.
Good evening, Hayward City Council. I'm Elizabeth Barrera with the Hayward Youth Commission. The Hayward Youth Commission is a crucial part of our community, but it can also have some improvement. My first idea is that we have the Hayward City Council members come and join us in our meetings. I was able to talk with Council Member Goldstein, and I was able to learn some of his goals and points of interest. I would like for the whole Youth Commission to not only hear his goals, but the whole council members' goals too. My second idea is having Youth Commission members go to schools in the Hayward District to promote the Youth Commission. We would make different groups and direct them to certain schools all throughout Hayward to help them promote the Youth Commission, show them like what we do and that we strive to make our city a better place for the youth. I hope we can work together with these ideas and come together as a community to make this a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have youth commissioners. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So I am going to close public comment, come back to the
Mayor
dais.
Salinas, I believe you have one more speaker card.
Oh, how did I miss Mr. Ferreira? Mr. Ferreira. My apologies. The vice chair of the Keep Hayward Clean and Green.
It's okay. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, City Council, Mayor. I first want to also say thanks you to the American Red Cross for their 150 years of service. It's really helped our hospital and Summit Hospital, all debates in Oakland and all the other Bay Area hospitals. So thank you. Thank them for that. Speaking on behalf of the Hayward Clean and Green, I really appreciate you putting this up for a vote. Being a commission will not only help stabilize our numbers have been shrinking, but also bringing in new talent, new ideas. I know this was started back in the 90s with Al Mendel's wife as a chair, and it was a temporary thing at the time, but it's really grown. Everybody, I see white bags all over the city. So everyone's catching on, they're adopting blocks, so it's really fantastic. So we got to keep that going. We're making it a cleaner city than I've ever seen it. The last 5 years has been great. So keep that going. Being a commission will definitely make that a reality, bringing in those new ideas, new people. So, and we'll have better quorum as well. And also more people to help out in our street parties that we have during the summer months and other events. So I really appreciate you considering this for a vote tonight. It'd be great for the generations to come in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to now close public comment, return to the dais, and before I call upon Councilmember Bonilla, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Page 4 of the staff report contains proposed language around performance criteria that involves complying with training and statutory requirements, being an active, respectful, and focused participant. Appointees are expected to follow established procedures and demonstrate professional decorum during meetings, and so on and so forth. But that language is proposed, I think, to address the expectation of professional behavior of commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your comments, commissioners. Just to the city manager, I just wanted to, I'm not sure if the Hayward Youth Commission liaison is here, but I really do think that those ideas are worth taking back so we can hear a little bit more from. I know when I was on the commission, we had like a regional forum where we brought together other commissioners from like local jurisdictions and we were able to collaborate. So I really like that idea around collaboration. And then also, you know, with the school district being one of our key partners with the Youth Commission, really leveraging that partnership to get our youth commissioners to maybe go to assemblies or to get them to speak at schools or to really be able to have youth-to-youth encouragement and interaction to be able to encourage each other to join the Youth Commission, because I think it's much more powerful when they hear it from their peers, the experience that they're getting, the value that it adds, and the impact and the difference it's making in the community. So any type of peer-to-peer exchange between the youth commissioners and our students as a way of recruitment, I think is another great idea. So thank you for bringing that up. And then also I just encourage my council colleagues, you know, without us going and creating a, you know, quorum at their meetings, it's good to watch their meetings and to be involved, because understanding the issues directly from the youth and their innovative solutions, I think will really help inform some of the decisions that we make up here. So thank you guys so much for coming out tonight and for sharing your ideas. I think they're brilliant. Thank you again.
Thank you. Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. As chair of the committee, I want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Bonilla and Councilmember Andrews, for work on this ad hoc committee. And I'd especially like to extend my thanks to Assistant City Manager Youngblood for her work keeping us moving forward on this and interpreting our comments to bring this set of cohesive recommendations that we all have before us this evening. I just want to thank the City Clerk Lenz and City Attorney Lawson for your work updating the handbook and the appropriate city ordinances to make those clarifications and I think update some of the language that needed to be updated. So thank you both for that, or all of you for that. My hope is that these recommendations will provide clarity for the commissions going forward. I know it won't satisfy everyone, but we're trying to find a way to standardize what all the commissioners are doing to the extent that they can. Each commission has a different focus, of course, and we will work with them on how we tweak it. We have our library director here, and I think there's some specific needs there as well. So so hopefully the standardization part will help all of us. As we heard, we did have a public comment period during this. In fact, we had the one day where we had all of the commissioners were invited to attend and give us their input on these recommendations. And so we made some tweaks based on those recommendations. It was really helpful. And then there was, I think, a couple of weeks after that, right, where they were allowed to submit email comments. So I think we feel like we've heard from everyone as much as we could. And so because this has been a collaborative process, I support the recommendations as presented. I hope my colleagues will join us. And thank you to our youth commissioners for being here. I mean, you just sort of, exemplified why this is such an important commission. Thank you. And to Mr. Farah, thank you for being here. And I look forward to the work on Clean and Green as a commission now instead of a task force. So thank you. Those are my comments.
I'm happy to second.
Okay. So we moved by Councilmember Rhodes, seconded by Councilmember Bonilla. Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to also thank the Assistant City Manager Youngblood for really keeping us on task and organized and focused throughout the whole process. These ad hoc committees can get really lost, and we definitely stuck to a timeline. So I want to extend that kudos to Assistant City Manager. Also wanted to thank our City Attorney Lawson for making sure we understood the laws and what was within our scope, what was in the Commission's scope, and keeping us on track there. And our City Clerk, who just really knew the history of all the commissions and task force, and just gave us knowledge of what was presented before and why were certain decisions made in order for us to inform our decisions. And then she also just knew the numbers right off the bat in terms of how many were there, and there's a lot of movement that happens on these commissions, and she just kept on top of it, and also just making us aware of the schedule as well in terms of acquiring commissioners. So thank you so much for just being that resource for us throughout the whole process. I want to thank all the commissioners who provided feedback to us throughout this process. I want to thank staff. I particularly want to thank the Library Commission, who basically gave us really a blueprint, as well as the Planning Commission gave us a blueprint on how we should be welcoming commissioners moving forward. So I just wanted to thank those two entities. And also want to thank the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force. This recommendation was a recommendation that I've heard throughout the whole time I was on the task force, and I know it was a recommendation that happened even before, but it's nice to see it come to fruition. I know that was some of the feedback that I turned over when I was chair of really trying to get this to be a commission so they can have that same commissioner title as everyone else. You all are really boots on the ground, keeping our city beautiful and clean. So thank you to Commissioner for being here to speak to that. And yes, just wanted to give kudos also to our ad hoc committee members. It was a pleasure working with both of you. I wish all our committee meetings can be that easy and fun and all that, but no, but it was really fun working with you all to get this to the finish line, and I hope our fellow council members will support. Thank you.
Councilmember Syra.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the ad hoc committee. Let me pull up my notes here. I just want to appreciate the time and thought that went into this from my colleagues on the ad hoc committee and staff that helped support this process. Months-long process, many meetings. The work that goes into updating language in handbooks might sound dry from the outside, but I think it inspires really in-depth conversations about how our government operates, how we integrate our community into the decision-making process, and how do we improve both of those processes. When I first saw some of these changes, I had a little bit of heartburn because I'm a diehard CSC participant, but I understand the rationale behind them. I think it is important for us to consistently be cleaning up how we operate so that we can deliver for our residents. One particular comment that I had heartburn around that I can live with is around council should refrain from giving comment inside of the different commissions. I'm glad that it says should rather than must refrain. I think it's important for us to sometimes be able to weigh in, provide context to commissioners. We have a lot of information that we hold that they struggle to make decisions without. And there have been times where we've had no votes from commissioners because council liaison wasn't there to help contextualize something for them. And so I just don't want to discourage us not to steer the conversation because we want them to advise us. We don't want them to become yes people and just agree with whatever we think. We value their opinion. But I do think we play a role in helping make those conversations more productive. And that's kind of the collaborative relationship I hope we can continue to emphasize with our commissioners as we liaise. I'm really glad that the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force is becoming a formal commission. Try saying that name 3 times fast. Clean and Green Commission rolls off the tongue a lot better. I think it's been a long time coming. With the Housing and Homelessness Task Force also becoming a formal council committee, I think we're out of task force waters and we're all official now, so that's pretty cool. I do want to encourage the Clean and Green Commission to think about how it can organize neighborhood groups to look after themselves. I really respect the work that happens where you're going neighborhood to neighborhood. But Tom's been a great volunteer up in the Hayward Hills, where I want to give a shout out to Bobby Yerby. He's pulling together 20 people on Saturday mornings once every 2 months, and they're there cleaning up from Carlos B all the way up Hayward Boulevard by themselves. No Clean and Green event. And I think if we can get every neighborhood to have a group like that, right? I would love to see Clean and Green maybe make that part of their mission too. How do we activate every neighborhood so they're staying clean, not just when you show up or when Councilmember Zermeño pulls up with his bag and his trash pickers, but kind of doing that on their own, organizing those cleanups on their own. So just a point of feedback and encouragement. You're doing great work, and I'm excited that you're going to become an official commission. Given the size of our city, having 11 commissioners on the community services feels a bit sparse to me, but I recognize that quorum has been difficult to achieve. And with 11 commissioners, we might be able to have deeper levels of engagement and conversation with less voices in the room and more time for folks to get into the weeds. So I can live with it. I understand the motivation to refocus the Community Services Commission for the time being, but I do want to say there's so much more our residents have to offer the city in terms of their potential, their perspective, their education. We went through a retreat with the Personnel Commission because we didn't like folks just showing up with all of their knowledge and rubber stamping things we thought were certain to be passed anyways. We have these residents show up because we want to hear from them. So I encourage, and I'm excited that Councilmember Bonilla is a new CSC liaison. I encourage, whether it's through an ad hoc committee or a retreat similar to the Personnel Commission, really exploring how do we provide more value with this commission. And I understand there might be some time in between as we get back to basics, but I hope we can grow to something that does provide a lot of value for the city, because our community is our biggest source of power. I also want to note, before everything changes on the CSC, that the creation of the Public Safety Committee and our city's reparative justice efforts stem from a lot of their input. And I, just want to say thank you for that input. There's maybe a difference in opinion on what the appropriate channels to provide that input would have been, but I think overall our city is a better place because of it, and I think we can find a more collaborative path forward with it. The last thing I want to note, and I just want to offer this up maybe as a small amendment, because this is the one thing where I'm having a hard time stomaching, is at a time when the federal government is cracking down on free speech, I don't feel comfortable with making a change that discourages residents from speaking truth to power, and in this case, it's us. When we appoint these commissioners precisely for their advice and connection to the community, I want them to celebrate that. And earlier we celebrated the fact that we had youth commissioners come up and we identified them as commissioners. And so I don't think any commissioner should represent the opinions of their commission or the council, but I do think we shouldn't punish if somebody wants to identify themselves as a commissioner if they're giving public comment. It's something worth celebrating as long as they're not misrepresenting the opinion of their commission. And so on staff report, page 7 out of 10, there's a sentence, let me pull up and read it out loud just so we're clear. I just want to make one word change. It's nothing too significant, but in the revised language, it says, commissioners may advocate for policy positions as private residents on issues outside of their commission's purview. When acting as private residents, commissioners should not use their title or position when advocating for issues outside the scope of their commission's work. I would just want to replace not used with something like should distinguish between their title and position and their personal opinion, or separate their title or position when advocating. I still want them to be able to identify themselves as such, and I'm proud of when we have commissioners that want to come and give comments. So that would be my suggested amendment if you're open to accepting it as the maker of the motion, Councilmember Roach.
Yeah, I am, and maybe I can ask the city attorney, what that language would look like. I mean, I have to admit, I've done that plenty of times where I've gone, to a different agency and said, I'm Julia Ridge City Council, but I'm speaking on my own behalf. So is there some way we can tweak it where, and I think that goes to your point, right?
Right. Thank
to
you,
make
Mayor and
that
Council.
distinction.
I appreciate talking with Councilmember Syrup before the meeting about the proposed change. And as I understand the tweak, and I'm looking at the sentence, which is proposed to say they should not use their title or position when advocating for issues outside the scope of their commission's work. And I understand the tweak to be they should distinguish between their title or position, or they should distinguish their title or position when advocating for issues. Is that what you're proposing, Councilmember Syrup?
Yeah, I'll trust you as a city attorney to iron it out. But in essence and in practice here, if I were to come up as a commissioner and say, hi, I'm George Syrup, I'm a community services commissioner, but I'm here to speak on my own behalf, I want them to be able to identify themselves as such, but be clear in that separation of personal advocacy from their title.
Right. So the proposed language is they should not use their title or position when advocating for issues. And what's suggested is something a little softer. They should
separate.
distinguish or clarify that they're on a commission but not speaking for the commission, or something to that effect.
Correct.
I mean, if the maker of the motion and the seconder are agreeable to some softer language, staff can make that adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want it to be softer but clear language. What we're saying, that there isn't a time when it's okay to do. We're saying it's okay to identify yourself, but distinguish it from the topic, I guess. So, yes. What do you think, Councilmember Bonilla, since you're... I mean, you're right. I'm not sure I want to wordsmith it, but because I see your point, it almost, the point of the language basically says when you're advocating as a private resident, don't identify yourself. And I think we want to say when you're advocating a private residence, it's okay to identify yourself, but not, because you're trying not to represent the whole commission.
Yes.
I think that's what you're trying to avoid doing. Yes. So yes, if you feel like you can wordsmith that in a way that makes that clear. Councilmember Bonilla, do you want to comment since you're the seconder?
No, I agree. I think the intent, I think we're all aligned on the intent. The intent is, if they want to identify themselves as a commissioner, that's fine, but they need to distinguish themselves. If they're advocating for personal issues that are unrelated to their role on a commission, they need to distinguish their advocacy as personal, not necessarily as representing the commission, right? So like if I go to a meeting, I can say I'm Ray Bonilla, city council member, but I'm not here representing myself as a city council member or the views of a city council member. I'm representing my own personal views. I think that's what we're trying to distinguish, so that we don't have commissioners who are representing their personal views as commission views or on behalf of themselves as commissioners versus private citizens who happen to hold a role of a commissioner as well. Right, Councilmember?
That's correct. I just want to add that the last sentence of the paragraph is very clear about that. It says, nor may they represent their personal views as endorsed by the commissioner or the city council. So that's why I think a very minor tweak to replace not used with something softer is really the direction here in the amendment being suggested. And I would trust the city attorney's office to figure that out.
Hold on.
Well, I just want to be clear. So are you understand the direction and you'll be able to tweak that language? Okay, thank you. Then I support that tweak, and I'm, besides that, the recommendations are good the way they are.
Okay, Councilmember Zermeño and then Councilmember Goldstein.
Mayor, thank you. Thanks to my colleagues, Andrews, Bonilla, and Roche on this excellent work. I support the recommendations. Good changes for the commissions in my mind, more efficiency, more positiveness, happier, cleaner city, which is something that we all want, and more of a rewarding experience for our commissioners. And I was one who was a member of the Library Commission and the Planning Commission. So thank you, Tom, and the two youngsters left before I was able to thank them. But that's good, and we'll support the motion 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Goldstein.
Thank you. I support the motion, and I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into it. I know that the clarity, the guidance was needed, and I think will be well appreciated. And at the same time, encouraging people, as Councilmember Syrop pointed out, encouraging people to be proud of what they've accomplished so far, even when they are advocating for something outside the purview of the commission that they're serving on. I think not only adds credibility and status to the person in serving, but it also really doesn't take away at all. You know, as long as the person is disclaiming, these are my personal views and not the views of the commission that I'm on, I think it's a great and fair opportunity for that person to not only benefit from the prestige that we intend to confer on them by the appointment, but also does help establish them as a leader in the community. And so I think we definitely want to advocate for that. We want people to stand up and speak, but also appropriately disclaim that they're not representing the views of the commission. So thank you for the hard work. I appreciate all the great work that you did. I think it's very vital, and I think it'll be very valuable going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with what everyone said. Wanted to thank staff, absolutely, Assistant City Manager Youngblood and Mr. City Attorney. Thank you. Of course, our city's historian, Ms. Lenz. Thank you very much for your work on this. Also, you know, I was trying to think, you know, what better person to usher and corral Councilmember Bonilla and Councilmember Andrews. Of course, that would be Chair Roach to do this. Very thoughtful, and you know, she's not only a thoughtful individual, but she's also an excellent writer and an excellent proofreader, which clearly this was necessary. But I think above all, just what you saw and what you witnessed up here, she was also a very good consensus builder and was able to put together recommendations for us tonight. So thank you, Chair Roach, for your work on this. With that, Madam City Clerk, you may take roll, and when we start the roll, why don't we start to my far left with Councilmember Syrop.
All right, Mr. Mayor. So that moved by Councilmember Roach, seconded by Councilmember Bonilla Jr.
Correct.
All right, Councilmember Syrop, sorry.
Yes, and when this goes into effect, congratulations to all the new Clean and Green commissioners, including Commissioner Ferrero over there.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Yes.
Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Bonilla Jr.
Yes.
Councilmember Roach.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Sí.
Mayor Salinas.
Yes, and it passes unanimously. Congratulations, and thank you for all of your work on this. Our next item is council reports and announcements. Are there any council reports? Councilmember Cermeño.
Thank you, Mayor. As I've done for the last 10 years, I invite you to join us in celebrating the 149th birthday of our fine, great city of Hayward at City Hall Plaza on Tuesday, 11th of March. 3 o'clock, let's see, we're gonna sing happy birthday. We're gonna have a cake from Max's Cakes, and we're gonna have some poems. So drop by, say hello, and have some cake and have some fun. And I also like to recommend that perhaps we consider forming some kind of a small group to have us plan our 150th birthday next year in 2026. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? I did want to end, and I appreciate Madam City Manager for making this announcement earlier, but next week we will not be here in the chamber. We will be at the Hayward Unified School District Performing Arts Center on the corner of Panama and Hesperian Boulevard. And if you're mapping this right now in your head, that is Mount Eden High School. And it is the brand new Performing Arts Center. Every year, like my predecessors before me, it is our duty to deliver the state of the city, and I will be doing that along with the City Council and the executive team of the City of Hayward. We will be talking about our successes that we have had in the past year. We'll be looking at some of our challenges, and then we'll be outlining what the future of our city will be looking like in the coming year and years ahead. Wanted to invite everybody. It is open to the public, and I wanted to extend a very warm thank you to our partners at the Hayward Unified School District, Acting Superintendent Chan-Woo Fernandez. Thank you very much for opening your home to us. I'd be remiss if I did not say with Dr. Walton, the principal of Mount Eden High School, thank you for accepting us and receiving us on Tuesday. March 11th, 6 p.m. We will all be there, and which should be a good time. So with that, moving on to council referrals. There are no council referrals, and I promised the City Council that we would be out by 8 o'clock. Madam City Manager, it is 8:15. Meeting adjourned.